What's going on, everybody? YL here from Rebel Ears. And as you can see, we are in the Universal Audio console. All right. So let me exit out of these categories really quick. This is a list of all of the Universal Audio plugins that I have access to. I'm actually thinking about doing um, the monthly plan. But this is a decent amount of UAD plugins. And this right here, I actually have more that I can use inside of Pro Tools. This is just all that I can use as a vocal chain here. So I moved into a new house over the summertime. I just got this Mac Mini M4. So I decided to build a new simple vocal chain just so I can get back to doing these tutorials. So you should be able to see me in your top right corner. You should be able to see my face. You should be able to see the screen. So we'll be getting back to Pro Tools tutorials, live Pro Tools tutorials. You guys will be able to hear what I'm doing, see what I'm doing. Same thing on this aspect here. So we're going to dive into this very, very simple vocal chain. And like I said, this is just for speaking. This is actually my first time using it. It sounds good in my headphones. So we're recording this video. If it sounds good, I'm going to put it out. If it doesn't, then this is just a test. All right. So these are all my plugins, like I said before. You can go through here, these different categories. I got a few channel strips. I got a few preamps. All right. We'll get into that in a minute. Got a few compressors. Let's see. We got a few compressors here. I love my Teletronics LA2A, my Tube Tech CL1B. Huge fan of both of those. I like the 1176. Of course, anything SSL is top notch as well. Precision channel strip is kind of like a stock type of UAD plugin that they'll give you, and I use that as well. I like anything with a channel strip, anything with multiple encoders, and anything with multiple parameters that I can affect. I've spoken on that enough. For the people that know me, you know that I like knobs. I like a lot of buttons. I like a lot of options. And that also helps with processing, because if I'm doing something multi-band, or if I have a channel strip, then that might save me from pulling on more signal processing later on. All right. So you can use one plugin to do multiple things. And that's what I love. So we got some delays as well. We got a precision mod delay. We got a bunch of equalizers. We got some guitar and bass amps and stuff like that. Some mastering plugins. None of those. No microphone plugins. We got a little bit of modulation, which modulation is basically time based. We got some auto tune, of course. We got some reverb. Um, no special processing, no tape and saturation. This is only for UAD. When I show you all Pro Tools and I pull up a Pro Tools session, we'll mix the song with UAD plugins. You'll see that I have access to way more inside of Pro Tools. But this is a very, 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 very solid base for any kind of vocal chain that you want to build. If you're dealing with singers, I have reverb that you can add. I've showed that video before where you can add reverb to your vocal chain. I have a long video on that. I also have a short video just showing what it can possibly do as well. Um, I think I have a video on the auto tune as well. If I don't, comment down below, y'all, and I will do a UAD auto tune vocal chain. All right. I believe I've done one, but if I haven't, let me know. All right. So we're gonna jump right off into this simple vocal chain that I'm using. So if you hear my voice right now, you think it sounds great, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is basically what we are going to be looking at today. All right, so right off the bat, we're gonna jump off into this vocal chain here. All right, so as you can see, I like to use Unison. I have a video explaining Unison. All right, Unison basically it acts as a outboard type of preamp when you put your plug in Unison, to where your interface grabs that particular plugin and it builds your interface into almost like an outboard preamp. It turns the interface into an outboard preamp, so to speak. I have a video on that. All you got to do is go to our YouTube, look up Unison, and it's a couple videos on there, me explaining why I use Unison, the do's and don'ts, the pros and cons, and then you can build your own opinion if you like to place your preamps in Unison. I do that, and that's what I like to do. All right, so we have the 610B. All right, this is a preamp that I use pretty much on every single vocal chain that I use. This is one of my Unison plugins. Now I can put other plugins in Unison. All right, so all of these plugins right here can be used as a preamp. It can go in Unison, right? That's why I click this blue square here where it's an add plugin to Unison, and it's basically popping up everything that'll give you for that can be added into this Unison slot. Right now, I only have the 610B because I love it. All right, it's not a lot of knobs on it, but it's enough. All right, so like I said before, when you do place your plugins in Unison, you are going to have to crank your gain because you're going to get a little lower on the gain. So if I turn this off right now, you see I'm a lot louder and I'm maybe 3/4 up on my gain knob, right? So if you pay attention to this plugin, I am really pushing here. This tube preamp, I'm pushing plus 10 gain, and this is the initial gain before it hits anything else. You know, this is before it hits the EQ right here. It's before it hits this actual level and the output itself. All right, so when I cut that back on, voila, you hear the difference. A lot of the noise goes away. But of course, I am a lot more quieter. So I am pushing my levels at about 7.5. And as you can see down here, the way I'm talking, I'm only hitting at about negative 15 dB. Usually, you know, if I get a little louder, this is kind of where we want levels, like right at -9. But this is a talking video, really laid back type of video, so I don't have to do that, right? So I'm at like almost 7.5 on my levels. As you can see, I'm right at 2K here. My output, I'm like right at 1, maybe almost 1. I am cutting at 200 and I'm boosting at 10K. All right, so that's my first plugin in Unison. This is my preamp. All right, this is basically giving me my initial gain, my initial sound, and after I grab my initial sound, all I want to do is just kind of shape it, right? So the next thing, or the first insert, or the next plug-in in the chain would be this Helios. You guys seen me use the precision EQs. I might have a SSC channel strip EQ template, UAD template on YouTube. I'm not sure. Just let me know in the comments, guys. We're getting back to UAD. We're getting back to Pro Tools. You guys can see that the quality is there. Everything is there. I'm comfortable. The processing is there for me. So this is back easy for me to do. And this is something that I really enjoyed doing before. So we will be doing this a lot more. So this is an equalizer. If those that don't know, the Helios 69 is an equalizer. So I use this preset Family Man, tweaked it just a tad bit. So right at 1.4, I'm boosting 1.4 a good amount as well. So this EQ, so to speak, I'm not really a super fan of, but I have it, so I like to use it sometimes. But it is really simple. Like I said, I'm using this preset Family Man. Without the EQ, this is how I would sound, right? So it's a little more muffled. It's a little muddy. I bring this in. It brightens it up just a little bit, clears it up just a little bit, but it still sounds natural, all right? And then the next thing in the vocal chain is the 1176. This is my compressor. All right, so you can see that now that I'm up talking really loud, it is barely giving me any real compression. Reason being is because for the most part, a lot of this audio will be edited post-production. All right. So I don't want to, as you can see now, as I'm turning these knobs. So my input is basically what's giving me my gain reduction. It's almost like your threshold if you were dealing with another uh, compression plugin. You'll have your threshold. Your input is your input, your threshold. Um, all of that is kind of built into this one knob. And I really like this compressor as well, just by the way it sounds as well. So my attack, it's kind of roughly in the middle, but we're going to bring it in a little, see if you guys can hear a difference in any of this. And then I'm also going to bring my release in and see if, as I'm talking, do you hear a difference? Like it sounds a lot more sharp. It sounds a lot more cutting edge right in your face. But the more that I pull this release down and I give more release, I sound more compact. It's not as much room as it to be natural, right? It's not really sounding like a supernatural vocal. All right, so we like to leave that release kind of like right up in here, ratio at 4. That's just the standard ratio for vocals. To be honest, I usually put my ratio between 4 and 5 on vocals. If I'm dealing with a singer, I'll go closer to 5. If I'm dealing with a rapper, I'll go closer to 4. Honestly, my honest opinion, when I'm dealing with compressors, the biggest thing that I'm looking at is my attack, is my release, is my threshold. How much gain reduction do I want? The ratio is important, but I feel like the ratio, it kind of, it will vary depending on what you're doing, right? You will be able to adjust your threshold, your attack, and your release way more than your ratio when it comes to moving throughout certain genres and certain instruments. Those are going to be the knobs that you're turning more than ever. It's not like you're going to be mixing anywhere from 1 to 8 on your ratio or 20. This ratio is going all the way up to 20, but some compressors, they go up to 1 and go all the way to 8. You're not going to really go that far unless you're dealing with certain instruments. But even then, how much compression do you really want coming in, right? The stronger your ratio is, the less of a threshold you'll need. But like I said before, certain instruments and vocals and different things like that live in a certain a certain ratio range. So you'll definitely turn your input or your threshold, attack, and release knobs a lot more. So I focus on more of that when I'm dealing with compression. And as you can see, the closer I get to this microphone, as you can see, guys, I'm leaning in because my mic is right here. But the closer I get there, you'll see that interact there with that gain reduction. So really quick, man. I don't think this was that quick of a video, but this is just basically kind of an example of what we're going to be doing from here on out. I'm back to the tutorials. Any kind of templates you all want to see. I have so many plugins. Like I said, I just got the Mac Mini. Everything is upgraded. I got all my plugins, got all my UAD stuff going, all my wave stuff, so we can really get back to doing some things. I got some mixes on the way. We got some projects that we're working on. So there's a lot of content that we can get back to. And even in as far as recording, like if I was to take all of this off, I want you all to hear how this room sounds when I take all of this off. All right. So you guys can hear me now. I know it sounds a lot louder, a lot worse, and I'm cranking up this gain right here only because I'm talking. If this was an actual artist performing, I would be at Unity. I'm doing this because I'm in unison and I don't want to have to yell. My baby is asleep. Y'all know I just had my baby, so I don't want to wake my baby up. But that's why I have this fader turned up. I never do this, but I'm doing it today. All right. But now we cut everything back on. You automatically hear a difference as soon as we go back into unison. As soon as we go back into that 610, that 610, the Helios is back on now. So now we have a little bit more clarity in there. And then we turn this 1176 on, and it just gives us a little bit more punch, a little bit more in the face, a little bit more body. And there we have it. Really easy, simple vocal chain. And this is just for tutorials. This is just what I'll use when I'm talking. I actually have different sessions here. As you can see, I have a simple chain, I have a single chain. This right here is a new chain that I'm building for singers and harmonizers as well. And I got a couple other little templates that I just kind of saved on default. So yeah, we back to it, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too boring. Let me know if I need to get a little bit more excited about what I'm showing you guys, because I actually am. I'm really happy that I'm back to this phase. New computer, new room, new sound. You know, we moving on up, and life is wonderful. So, hope y'all are always inspired like always. Refuse to sound ordinary.